All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises, all glory, and all honors going to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the others of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. It's another edition of GMS News and Prophecy. And this is going to be another quick video, Lord willing through the Spirit, but edifying. So this is from CNN.com, and it says the Gap is running out of money and stop paying rent. This is dated, today's date, April 23rd, 2020, the year of prophecy. I'll jump right into it. It says Gap Inc. is rapidly burning through cash as its stores remain shut during the coronavirus pandemic. The clothing company said its future is uncertain if it doesn't get the help it needs to keep its business operational. The company issued a dire warning in a regulatory filing Thursday that $1 billion in cash has evaporated from its account since February. Gap said it might have as little as $750 million in the bank as early as next week. So this is signs of the times, signs of the end of this man's society, which is Esau, the wicked man that shall go into perdition or judgment. And there's definitely going to be a shutting of doors in the streets. Matter of fact, it's already happening. Okay, and that's based off Bible prophecy, which leads me to the scripture here. And I bring this out pretty often with these types of articles. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 4. It says, "And the doors shall be shut in the streets." And those doors are talking about these businesses, okay? These different businesses and these marketplaces are closing up shop. You know, they're going from dining in and having people sitting in restaurants to delivering takeout. These department stores, these malls are closed, whether temporarily or permanently. There's also reports of thousands of different mom and pop private businesses are actually going out of business forever. So that's the doors being shut in the streets, you know. It says when the sound of the grinding is low. And what's the grinding? The grinding is working. You know, millions of people, I believe over 6 million people last week have filed for unemployment because nobody's really working. A lot of places are not opening back up to full capacity. Now, here in Georgia and certain other states, Florida, South Carolina, they're starting to open back up, certain parks and places of business, not really necessities. You really don't need to go to a barbershop. You can learn how to cut your own hair, man. All right? Or the woman can get, her and her girlfriends can get together and they can do each other's hair. Have fun, talk at the house. But those are the types of businesses that are opening up, as opposed to these plants and these other like warehouses and places that actually deal with production. They're not really opening up and they're still shutting down. So overall, that's what we're seeing here. The sound of the grinding is low. The sound of working is low. Okay? In America and around the world. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. Right? Because, you're used to getting up at your alarm clock or the rooster crowing. And then, you realize that you can't, go to work. Okay? It says, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And the music industry has definitely taken a major blow. The entertainment industry as a whole. There's no NBA, no NFL, no NHL, no MLB, no MLS. There's no concerts. These artists, these music artists are resorting to doing live streams on social media. Having debates and back and forth contests and things like that. So the music industry has been brought low now. They're not making the same amount of money they were. It says Verse 5, also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the major fear is this coronavirus. That's why people are walking around with medical masks and scarves and hoodies and gloves everywhere they go, because of the fear of things in the earth. It says, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, such as the locusts over there in Africa and the Middle East. They're a burden now to those crops, which, like I just said in the last video, this pandemic is leading to a famine of biblical proportions, because it's prophecy. Okay? It says, and desire shall fail. And there's been numerous people committing suicides, jumping out of buildings, killing their families and killing themselves because of the fact that they cannot see the future. And like I just read in the article with the Gap, they're uncertain of the foreseeable future for the business, the Gap business. It says, because man goeth to his long home, people are dying. Right? Yeah, this guy, this rapper, Fred the Godson, a New York rapper, just died. They say from COVID-19. He was in the hospital for a few weeks, and he passed on to the spirit world today. And other people as well. It says, and the mourners go about the streets. And you're seeing the different mourners, people that are mourning, wanting things to go back to normal in the lockdown, protesting all over America. This prophecy right here, Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, is coming to pass. All right? Especially verses 4 and 5. Okay? So this is what's going on now. So now these businesses like the Gap, they having to close certain stores, close doors, file for bankruptcy. Some may be able to survive this thing, but some may not. Okay? So let me go back here to the article. It says, Gap said it needs to take additional actions to both preserve existing liquidity and seek additional sources of liquidity over the next year, because the money is currently making isn't enough to sustain operations. So you're probably going to see a lot of different Gap stores close within the next year. Okay? It says it's taking action to preserve cash, including implementing furloughs of roughly 80,000 store employees, cutting executive pay, and not paying April rent for its temporarily closed stores. The latter move is saving the Gap in $115 million in monthly expenses in North America. The apparel company, which also has rent to pay for Old Navy and Banana Republic stores, says it's negotiating with landlords to modify the terms of our leases going forward after the stores reopen. It also said it might close some stores, right, and warned there's no assurance it can favorably renegotiate the terms. So yeah, like the scripture says, the doors are closing in the streets. Okay, are shutting in the streets. It says traditional department stores, apparel retailers, and mom and pop shops of all types are struggling to survive, and bankruptcies will spike despite the federal assistance programs. Kirsten Braun, president of Sten Group, an international trade finance organization, recently told CNN Business. Many retailers, including Nordstrom, J. Crew, and JCPenney, were already under stress before the pandemic. Yeah, I've done videos on JCPenney closing stores and filing for bankruptcy over the last few years. So now we're seeing that things are getting worse. It's coming to pass. It says they were already under stress before the pandemic, and many storefronts will simply not reopen. Okay, like the scripture says, the door shall be shut in the streets, out of business. All right. That's mainly the point. Prior to the pandemic, Gap was already in deep trouble. A plan to spin off Old Navy, Gap's faster-growing budget brand, was squelched in January. Old Navy has struggled in recent months, making separating the brands less attractive to investors. So So there you go. All right. These stores are going out of business, or these companies are going out of business, and these stores are closing. You know, and a lot of them for good. But that's, like I said, the signs of the times of what's happening in this kingdom. All right, because now Esau, he's doing a lot of this by design, because he wants to have his wicked world order in the earth where he controls everybody and everything. But it's also part of the Lord's prophecies and his plan to shut this society down to where Esau can't come back into power. And that was news and prophecy for today. I want to give all praises, all glory, and all honors unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I hope it was edifying. Shalom.